The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program, and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it's hump day.
Day after a city council meeting.
Yes. Where Pinocchio's nose grows.
I'll tell you, that meeting last night just drove me nuts because one of the things on the agenda was the gates of the city. They want to put a 400 amp electrical service down there for the Day of Portugal people who think they own it. We just found out yesterday at this city council meeting that the city of Fall River owns this, and it's not part of the park department. It's not part of anything. It's a unique beast. So they don't have no fee for using it, but nobody can use it because the Day of Portugal people don't want you to. And we're going to provide them with free electricity for their events.
Well, that's what you call a real public-private partnership.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? We pay all the bills and they make all the rules. I mean, what the hell's better than that?
I'm telling you, we can't lose, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, we can lose money, but that's about it. So we're going to give them free, but they make all the rules, you know.
Yeah.
So,
but you know, the only council that spoke up about that was Leo Pelletier. He says they come here, they take everything from us, and they leave with it, and they give us nothing for it. And he's right. You know, the taxpayers paying the bill, and they tried to make this sound nice. Well, we want a 400 amp service because, you know, the Narrows is building up everything. We're trying to make that whole area, you know, more accessible. You know, shovel it to somebody else. They've got two 200 amp services down there as it is.
well, why doesn't the city, why doesn't the city just, you know, sell them that and let them pay all the maintenance and you know, if they want to make all the rules, they should take all the responsibility, right?
Well, it even gets better because the Day of Portugal people want them to take the fountain out so they can put in more vendors and stages. So to make more room.
And make more money.
Who's going to pay for it? We are. And what does Chris Gallagher say? Oh, but we can get in-kind work from the people that put this together are all contractors, and they have the equipment. So we could probably get them to come in with the backhoes and whatnot to make the trenches and do all, you know.
Well, that's okay, Chris, as long as you don't fill out fraudulent overtime sheets for anybody this time. Yeah, that's fine. That's the guy that kept his head down for a while, and he's back in the news. So, but, you know, again, we subsidize anything that's, it's kind of like the federal government. If you represent a group that votes maybe as a block, and they can separate you by some
mysterious
euphemistic title like Latinos or whatever, and to not melt into the melting pot that's supposed to be the United States, well, we'll pander to them. Who wants to upset the Portuguese population? You might lose the entire Columbia Street area vote if you don't give them what they want. The hell damn the taxpayers.
That's it.
Full speed ahead. We don't care.
And you know, that's the problem we have in Fall River. It's bad enough that we get our taxes raised. We now get hit with a surtax for the debt exclusion.
Yeah.
We get higher water, higher sewer rates. And Terry Sullivan had the nerve to go out and say, well, we're going to extend more sewer service to Westport. But we're charging them 55% more than we're charging the average Fall River homeowner.
But look, CJ, you know as well as I do, it's all about how you can screw the taxpayer. The taxpayer always gets screwed. And even when things are good, you get screwed. I mean, last night they were talking about giving $1 million from the health care because they're paying less health care. now their bills are lower or whatever or higher. It's irrelevant. How many times do we have to tell these clowns, and Kathy Ann doesn't know what she's talking about, or she's flat out lying? The billing in the school department is irrelevant, absolutely irrelevant. This is a group plan, healthcare plan. Let me explain this really simply because the employee side does it right. Since we're all in a group, whether you're a school teacher, a school custodian, or whether you work on the city side and you work in City Hall, you're a firefighter, you're a police officer, you're a retiree, you pay your insurance premium, your health insurance premium in. It's put into a trust fund, statutorily required, a segregated trust fund, which they robbed from a few times and got caught. But the fact is, it's put into that fund. That's what you use to pay your health care bills. Now, let me explain something to you. This is not like your normal health care. This isn't a premium plan. You don't pay and they pay your bills and then later on. This is, the city of Fall River is a self-insurer. You only carry a card for administrative purposes. So what happens is you pay every month and it's in that trust fund. And right now there's about just over 5 million, under 6 million. It fluctuates, but around 5 million. So now the bills come in for the month of March. All the health care for everybody that works for the city comes out to $1 million in health care costs. I'm just rounding it off. These are not, I'm making these figures up for an example. We can get, if you really want the figures, we can get them for you on the billing every month. And we get a report at IAC meetings. So the bill comes in for $1 million. Doesn't matter whether you work in a school department, or you work in City Hall, or you work at a fire station, or you work at the water department. Doesn't make any difference. You're a city employee. This is a group plan. So the employees pay $250,000 for it. The city pays $750,000 because it's 25-75 ratio. Doesn't make any difference. And we had this problem, what was it, a year or two ago? We were talking about it on the show. When
I believe so, yes.
When we were talking about this issue, and apparently they can't remember anything. Well, so what happens now is bills are paid, no big deal. And it goes back to the next month and whatever bills come in. Excess is kept in the account. We've said 1 million times the city should do it this way, but the city doesn't. They have admitted at the city council they do not fund that thing totally, even though the total funding is in the budget. This is to allow the city to play with money. So now they go and say, we got to transfer $1 million over to the school department because of what it costs them for health care. That's BS. That's just an excuse for them to move money around and give them money under the guise of what it costs for their billing. That's not accurate. That's not what the overall cost is, because the overall premium they're paying and what they're paying as part of the premium is for that group in its entirety, in its totality. That means that that rate is set because everybody's bills, the healthy people, the sick people, the people in the middle, that's why you get groups. It keeps premium costs down. I believe the example I used a few years ago or a year ago when we discussed this issue was if you were running the health care in the state of Hawaii and you decided to get a separate health care plan for the leper colony on Molokai, the premiums would be about $1 million a month to be in that plan because everybody there has a condition. What they do is they insure the entire state and all the islands. And all those healthy people keep to stabilize the premium. So you can't just say, well, we pay $1 million because we get $1 million worth of bills a year. All those figures are skewed that they cite on how much they're paying because the premium they're paying in is not just for the school department. It's a group. And the city should be running this in the budget the way the employees run. It should be a separate item. Group insurance. It should be almost like an enterprise fund because we are a self-insurer. We put in ours, it's kept there, we pay, and at the end of the year, any surplus is left in there to help cushion against increases or catastrophic years. And I've said this many times over the course of the many years we've been on this show. Fall River has one of the better health care plans because of the work of the PEC and the IAC. But we could have a health care plan that's costing us virtually nothing. Had the city run its health care plan the way the employees fund has been run all the years I've been involved, which is a lot of years, by keeping it in a segregated account, putting in actually the money that they're supposed to appropriate, and at the end of the year, not turning it over to the surpluses into the general fund, leaving it for health care, and putting it in an interest-bearing account, we would have literally millions of dollars in health care right now. As a matter of fact, it's very simple to figure out. If the employees have 5 point whatever, let's just round it to 5 because it's an easy one to do. What's 3 times 5, everybody?
15.
$15 million we would have in that account. So, in addition to the money they've already put in, which they budget, which means they would have to budget less. Because I think their budget this year is around $50 million on costs. But that $50 million could have been cushioned by $10 million or $15 million or $5 million if they wanted. You could actually cut expenses and reduce the taxpayers' burdens. But they never do that. Why would they do that? It's kind of like Rhode Island when they're whining about having evergreen clauses in contracts. So, look, again, when you look at the city council meeting, everything you say, any similarity to fact is purely coincidental. So,
Well, you know, what really got me, because I called you right away last night when it came up. You know, they're saying that the reason for the savings is because the school department claims have gone down. And I'm like, wait a minute. What are they doing? Pulling those claims out and just saying, okay, these are your claims? Because if you remember a couple of years ago, they tried to get the
more
school
money.
department. Yeah, they tried to get more
because they
money.
went up.
Right.
But it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. I actually, at the next show, I'll bring you the last report from the Insurance Advisory Committee to show you that the entire plan is running under budget.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not only the school department that's running under budget, the entire city is running under budget.
But, you know, the thing that bothers me is that knowing that they're running under budget, because obviously you know they're running under budget, you have the reports, the city administration has the same reports, so they take $1 million out of the health care fund to send to the school department.
Yeah.
So they're taking $1 million out of the health care fund, which they budgeted, because as you say, they don't put the money in there, to give to the school department's general fund, which is basically a paper transfer. Because they don't put money into the school department coffers because they come out of the city of Fall River.
Yeah, and you're right. All that is hyperbole.
Yeah.
You know, all they're doing is making noise and talking about this like they're big financial geniuses. When number one, they've already said they really do not put in 100% of their 75% any year. They never budget the full amount. Kathy Ann admitted it. Well, most of the time we run under budget. What happens if we have a year that we run over budget? That's the reason the employee trust fund is there. If we run over budget, because remember, the trust fund is a supplemental fund.
Right.
Because we're paying every month. The reason that trust fund gets accessed is that, let's say that all the premiums they take from everybody come out to $300,000, and the bill and our portion was $250. That means $50,000 goes into the trust fund. Now, if we get a month where we collect $300,000 every month, and we get a bill for $400,000, we take $100,000 out of the trust fund. And at the end of the year, we determine if we ran within the actuarial projections. And we've been running under budget for numerous years in a row. That's the reason we have $5 million. And if the city would have done that, they would have $15 million. And it's all in the same pot. It's an absolute manipulation of fact. They're lying. It's like I said, it's like you saying, I'm running a healthcare in Hawaii, and that leper colony's over budget again. Jeez, because our projections were we were only going to have X amount, and look at how much we're spending on a leper colony. Well, guess what? The leper colony is running $1 million over budget, but the rest of Hawaii's running $2 million under budget, so the fund in its totality is $1 million under.
Right.
It's like, it's not that hard, but our financial team loves to tell half-truths and manipulate.
Muddy the water.
It doesn't matter if they're running over and under. We did this dance. I mean, read that excerpt from that article about Fall River, please, CJ. Do you have it?
I don't.
You don't have it?
I don't think I printed it out. I sent you the link to it, though.
I got the link on my phone, but
it said something along the lines of
Fall River's dysfunctional and everything.
Yeah.
We'll do it on the next show. Get a printout because it's really interesting. But this shows how absolutely duplicitous they are. It is totally irrelevant. They ran over budget. They ran under budget. I'm running over. I want more money. Give me more money. We're running under budget. Give me more money. I'm over budget. The bottom line is they're getting money either way.
Right.
So, but the reality is that's not true. It's got nothing. Those people, that should not be segregated by department. As a matter of fact, I'll read you this because it's fairly short. No, I think I erased it. No, I didn't. Okay. I will send you a text I sent to a city councilor after this debauchery took place. Health insurance is, in all caps now for emphasis, group insurance. Those school department figures to compare to city side are bull excrement, but I didn't use excrement, okay? The group is running under budget, and those figures are just a justification to move money to the schools. The group insurance money for the city should be looked at as a separate item devoid of segregation by department, which causes false indicators. Remember when the school department was saying they couldn't afford health care when we were $1 million under budget as a group? All employee money in his one account, all medical bills, regardless of where the claims come from, is paid from the health care trust fund. Why don't they do the same with city money? Why? They want to play with it and actually underfund it, as they have admitted in the past. This is nothing more but a giant scam and BS. And I printed out BS in large, in all caps. So that's what I sent a council, but they don't care because obviously they don't have memories either, because they don't remember that we went through this dance a year ago.
I know,
And it's like, and they were explained to this. As a matter of fact, I explained this fact to Mr. Coogan. And when he came here, when he was running for mayor, he admitted that I explained that this is all BS to him. and he listened and he understood. But again, how can you run a city when everything in a city is dysfunctional? You can't ever get an accurate representation of anything, especially when it comes to finances. So look at this. This is like the federal government. You know, all they care about is just muddying the water with something. So
It's, you know, the sad part is it never changes.
No.
We relive it like every year.
we are the definition of insanity.
Yeah, every city council meeting, we're getting the same information, only it's changed a little bit. The numbers keep changing. And that's the problem. That's the major problem, because you, the voter, have not learned that you're electing people that buy the line of bull. They buy the party line. And they're not doing what they need to do to save you, the taxpayer, money.
And I will say, to me, look, they're doing their job. They're conning everybody so they can move money around and play around with money. That's what they get paid to do. But shame on the city council for not doing their homework. Shame on the city council for not seeing this and saying, wait a minute, didn't we go through this dance before? I think we told them all. Why didn't they ask Kathy Ann why this premium virtually didn't go up at all? Because, by the way, she did mention that when the school department was talking about health care premiums. She said how hard the IAC and the PEC worked to maintain and how healthy our plan is.
Right.
So now if you look at these things, it doesn't match the dialogue. They're talking about, last year they were running over. Well, if they were running over, why did the premiums virtually not go up except for a small cushion for inflation? They didn't, because it's a group plan. It's all BS. Now, and the ironic part about it is, if that tells all, they asked for more money because they were running over budget. Now they got more money when they're running under budget. So the bottom line is, what is the common denominator, CJ?
More money.
No matter what happens, they get more money. So, I mean, shame on the council for not doing their homework.
It's almost like Kathy Ann comes in and says, brother, can you spare a dime?
Just a way to justify giving them money.
Right.
You know, we will
Thank you,
come
sir,
up.
and I
That's
have
right.
another.
But remember, that kind of panhandling is legal.
That's right. That's perfectly legal.
So,
Perfectly legal.
well, we got that. So, Fall River firefighter pleads not guilty to making false 911 calls. So, I don't know where that's going to go, but.
No. One of the things I wanted to talk about was the first story that I put there. Fall River auctions former nuclear property for $10,000. They put the starting bid at $822,000. The guy who bid the $10,000 bid $1. Okay, he thought he was going to buy this property for $1. And this is why we're a laughingstock.
Yeah.
Okay? It was started at $822,000. That's what it should have been at. A reasonable, amount would have been $400,000, maybe $500,000. Even $822,000 should have been classified as a reasonable amount of money. But no, this guy wanted a free ride, and he got it. Because the auctioneer said, how much are you willing to give for this property? And he said $10,000. He said, okay, done. That wasn't an auction, that was a negotiation.
Yeah, and after he gets the property for nothing, if he does any rehab in it and he opens up anything, he'll want a TIF.
I was going to say, he's going to be asking for a TIF next. You know what I mean?
That's right. What else? Welcome. Go ahead, CJ. Go, expound on that. I have to find that thing the link. I have to read that about dysfunctional. Go ahead.
I know. It's just ridiculous. But you were talking about panhandlers. The Fall River police chief is saying that the ruling gives Fall River panhandlers leeway, but other laws are on the books.
Yeah.
Why haven't you used the other laws all this time?
Because we could get them on the other one.
Right.
Let's see. Keep going. See, I got it. This is a very long. By the way, this is an extremely good article.
Yes, it is.
It's an extremely good. It's a very long article. The Last Kennedy,
Yeah, I found the link to that on Facebook, and that's where the lead came from that statement. So I'll have to look for it again.
Very, very good art. I would recommend anybody go online and I don't know if we can put the link on Spindle City Straight Talk, but
it's in the Atlantic magazine, and it's The Last Kennedy. It's in this month's edition, I believe. So It's definitely going to be interesting to see how this works out. Hey, you know that lottery that we have in Massachusetts that we always complain about?
Yeah.
They're about to reach $1 billion in profits this year.
Yeah, and that's why the Massachusetts legislature want to put in sports booking because all the rich towns get a disproportionate share of the lottery.
Exactly.
Nobody plays the lottery, but now they got $1 billion to split up. So again, the poor people taking on the chin. You know?
Always.
Always, you know that, because the hell with the poor people. We don't care about them.
You remember the corner sleep shop over on Milliken Boulevard?
Yeah.
Right next to the Stop and Shop, Super Stop and Shop up there. They bought the building. Oris Cannabis bought it, so they're going to open another marijuana shop right next door to another marijuana shop. they're probably about 5,000 feet apart. You know what I mean? And if that, and they're going to have people go over there. They're not going to do medical though. They're only going to do recreational marijuana. So that should be nice.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like, what's going on in Rhode Island. The poor people always take it on the chin. I found it very strange that, they're talking about passing a law, which I can't believe they don't have one already, to basically outlaw evergreen clauses. So in other words, your contract stays in effect until replaced by another contract.
Right.
And then of course, you got a lawyer who spends half his time out of town saying that, this is going to cost the taxpayers a ton of money, and it helps, it makes unions negotiate. Well, number one, that's a crock, because if you've got a contract in effect, the city's already found the money to pay that level of benefits because you've got the contract.
That's right.
And you have to prove you've got that money. So what is the harm in allowing that contract to stay in effect until you get a new contract? The unions won't have any offense, so they don't want to ever get a pay raise. That's a crap. They said, it's going to hurt the No, what that is a mechanism for mayors and towns to reduce the benefits of the working man
And not negotiate.
Because now they can reduce their benefits because their contracts expired and say, well, we'll hang you out to dry for 3 or 4 years negotiating a new contract with these reduced benefits, and I can give all my friends pay raises. So again, why do people get taken on the chin?
Only in Rhode Island.
But it's
Only in Rhode Island.
I'll tell you, this article goes on forever.
Yeah, it's a long article. You can't even read bits and pieces on the air. It's ridiculous. I think that's why I didn't print it out. I think it was like 5 or 6 pages long. Recently, it was South Coast Today, which is New Bedford, announced that a New Bedford nursing home is in crisis as paychecks are bouncing. But that could affect Fall River because, according to, we have 4 nursing homes that are owned by this country. One is in Fall River, and the one that's in Fall River is what is that one? Highland Manor.
Yeah. Well, I found it, CJ. So
Okay.
to show you what I've seen one of the greatest evaluations of Fall River in this article. Fall River is a town where the problems go much deeper than the crumbling streets and the 27-year-old mayor who was just recalled and reelected on the same day after charges of fraud and falsifying his tax returns. The town is heavy on melodrama and dysfunction. The previous mayor was investigated for pulling a gun on the current mayor. While all this while the streets were full of potholes and city services are a mess. So
Fall River at its best.
Remember, keep electing the same pinheads.
And we can keep making Atlantic Magazine and make us look like laughingstocks. Hey, thanks for watching. We'll see you on Friday. Have a great day, and please, stay angry.
Or dysfunctional.